So let's take just an example of a supply chain where the steps here are taken illustrative ones. The actual supply chain can be big and small depending on the business that we are looking at. So typically, if I take it starts from the selection of vendor to actual procurement, then doing the manufacturing of the goods, then storing the goods, distributing, and finally it goes to end customer. So in each of these steps, there is a involvement of document also in each of the steps that we see. From vendor to from a vendor to the procurement guy, from a procurement guy to the manufacturing. So there are invoices that are involved. There is a goods receipt note. There is advance note. There are so many documents also that get exchanged at every step of the supply chain that we are looking at. And whenever there is a document that is involved, then the compliance angle also comes into picture. And if we see a GST compliance in a more wider perspective, the overall objective of GST from a procurement guy is to ensure their ITC is always finalized. Their ITC doesn't lapse because somebody in the supply chain is not doing their compliance properly. So GST has made things more connected than ever, and at various stages. So when we look at the first stage of documentation we are looking at here, we have to ensure that whoever is giving me the document, are they compliant? Whatever document is generated, is it a valid document? So, which is if it is an invoice or an e-way bill, whatever is generated, is that valid? Then once the document is generated, has it been also reported on the government systems? And is the data that is reported in government systems same as what I have received? And after that level of things are done, then again there is another step which may not involve, be directly relevant for a supply chain, but as an organization, I have to ensure that if things are okay, I am able to claim the ITC on that on time. So overall, the supply chain, while it has been operating independently, because of GST coming into picture and the way GST law has transformed to make it more connected, it has now become integral part of chain. So if you see anybody who is designing a supply chain, while vendor onboarding, there will be a necessary check of doing a GST verification, that let us first see if the GST itself is valid or the GST registration is valid or not. So these are the things that we have seen has